Our hearts and minds are clear.
If you gonna show a picture of the CEO of Target, Walmart, McDonald's, and Amazon that does not recognize black dollars or black business. If you gonna put up a picture of the state legislators in Florida that are banning black books. If you gonna put up the picture of the one who is stealing classified information from the IRS and Social Security. If you go put a picture of those that don't want your mama to pay $35 for insulin and your child to pay $35 for inhaler. If you gonna put up a picture of those that are jailing children and separating families. I ain't ever scared. In case you forgot, I'm from the west side of Baltimore. If you got a problem, pull up on me.
Pull up on me.
Our hearts and minds are clear.
Unbelievable.
If you gonna shoot,
I love it. I love it. Who would you put up a picture of, Stacey, if you had to put a picture up?
Listen, I ain't putting that picture up. Let me listen, you was out here yesterday talking about thinking of knowing how to pray or whatever you were saying. He ain't teaching you that. Come on now. Tell him to relax with that. Tell him his congregation needs some spiritual guidance, not this type of stuff. Come on now. Relax. Shoot. What is that?
Church is all about.
Is that what it's all about? Come on now.
I mean, I'm here. I am here. Good morning, Black America. But the church is part of the plight of social justice. And so in this time of our nation, the Black church is a part of this discussion. And if I was going to put up a picture, I would have put up a picture of CORE and GeoCivic, the two privatized prisons, those presidents, because they's the ones that's taking our money, taking the government money to build all these privatized prisons for these undocumented immigrants that they scooping up.
They certainly are, and they don't forget the other one too, Blackwater, and they are
Mm-hmm.
they are in Trump's back pocket, so they are looking to build some more, make some more money. I saw a video this morning. I forgot who sent. I think my sister sent me the video of the little kid. I shared it with you guys too, getting 10 years old, and 3 cops arresting him allegedly for stealing a bag of chips. A little black boy, of course, 10-year-old. And you had a black man saying, "What are you doing? What is all this about?" He's a kid. And the guy said, the man said, "Listen, if you think he stole," because he said he didn't steal it. If you think he stole it, I'll give you the whatever it costs for those chips. But what you do in a situation like that, and they don't care, obviously, this is that 10-year-old. Now you have traumatized him, and now he doesn't trust the police at all. Now the police are the enemy. So this is but this is what they want, Neo.
For sure. They do. They want to take us back to a time to remind us that there's a place for us. And it's nowhere on the level that they're at. That's what they want to do.
Well, exactly. 100%. And this stuff is it's well beyond tolerable. It really is. It's well beyond tolerable. So after facing some backlash, throughout Washington and beyond for its abrupt suspension last week, the Trump administration officially reopened applications for a federal scholarship that funds students studying agriculture at historically Black colleges and universities. That's it's about time. Something good happens.
Did you say they reopened it?
They reopened it. Laugh. I'm scared of that laugh.
I mean, that's the second time. Didn't Elon Musk say in the meeting, the cabinet meeting yesterday, that when they found out they did something wrong, they fixed it? So they've been doing a lot of that lately.
No, how about he making everybody clap for Elon in that meeting and
And why?
telling them that if they don't like Elon, they can go.
Ooh. And then he wasn't even paying attention to the meeting. He was on his phone while Elon was talking. He was on this.
But could you imagine? He's got the full cabinet, the vice president, the secretary of state, everybody, and he is telling them that this non-elected, uh, very unpopular man standing there saying, if you got a problem with him, then you can leave. Meaning, you don't have to work in this administration.
Not
It's
surprised.
wow.
Wild nation. Can't even say what. Wild nation.
Yeah. Oh gosh. We're trying to find out um what what if anything he's paid something to Ruby Freeman and K Moss,
Mhm.
Shaye Moss, I should say, but we don't know what. The court said he is fully, quote, fully satisfied the $148 million defamation judgment he owed these two former Georgia election workers, and but they haven't said what he gave them. They were allegedly compensated last Friday, according to court documents filed in Manhattan federal court. And so apparently, some of the agreement allowed Giuliani to keep his New York and Florida homes. And remember, the New York condo, I don't know if they're talking about the condo, but the condo was supposed to be turned over to Moss and Freeman. But the court documents don't say how much compensation or exactly whether or not they did get the condo or not.
Right. We don't know what the judgment was. If the headline has been misleading across multiple news sources, and they're just not telling us. And that's the state that we live in right now. We don't know what's what because
I think we lost your volume totally, Niel, unfortunately, because I really wanted to hear what you had to say. um, but I just wonder what's really going on, and then you get a little bit of afraid of for Ruby Freeman and Shaye Moss. You want to make sure this is a case where you need to understand that there is some sort of um, signs of life with them. You gotta check this stuff
right.
because this is outrageous. What's going on? And Giuliani is a Trump guy, and you fear for them. You fear for them. You need proof of life. I need proof of life because you never know what could have happened. But this settlement came about all of a sudden too. So man, I think we got a clip here. Is that a clip or just a picture?
Let's take a look at it.
I think it's just a photo. I think
Oh,
you got me. No clip, no clip. But anyway, so we'll see. I guess eventually it'll come out. Eventually, right?
eventually, somebody's going to tell the story. There's going to be a whistleblower. Thank God for the whistleblower. How about that? We got to
But
thank God for the whistleblowers.
and that is exactly. It's funny you say that too because that's exactly one of the reasons why they are clearing out the federal government. They are
Hmm.
trying to make sure that, and they said that it was in Project 2025. They want to make sure that there's no one in there who is not totally loyal to Donald Trump. So
But
that
there's
way,
yeah. But here's the thing about the Trump administration. They're
mhm.
always going to piss somebody off on their side. Somebody on their side is
Right,
going to turn on them. They
right,
eat each other from within. So we can
right.
always be hopeful for that.
Yes, yeah.
Think about all the go ahead.
I mentioned that to Representative Hank Johnson yesterday. And I think he literally meant eat. So they were eating humans. I think he really literally thought I was. He's so old school, you know. He is so old
You
school.
might have scared him.
I think so.
What you talking about, man?
Oh man, what is Orangey ranting about this morning? He says the DNC and every so-called thug or gangster failed those two black women. They still need protection. That's what I said.
They do.
Yep.
They need protection. Fannie Willis needs protection. Letitia James needs protection. Anybody that speaks up against that administration is going to need protection.
Yeah. Yep. And that is no truer words have been spoken. The other thing that is going on, UN AIDS said that at least one status report on the impact of cuts, or USAID
Mm-hmm.
said that at least one status report on the impact of cuts has been received from 55 different countries up to the start of this week. That includes 42 projects that are supported by the U.S. President's Emergency Plan for AIDS relief, and 13 that receive some U.S. support. So basically, what we're saying here is that um, they have taken away assistance from HIV treatment and AIDS treatment.
Mm-hmm.
They've cut
And
it.
they've cut it. They cut it. And I, the test is, all of these things are happening now, but what's the trickle down effect? And I think that's what we're missing because it's not touching us right now. But the impact that this is going to have on us and on the world, because people do travel. That's how coronavirus got here, right?
Yep.
It's gonna
Yep.
travel.
And what is that other thing that's going virus? Novovirus? What is that called? Norovirus or Novovirus or whatever?
Yeah,
There's a
it's
whole
about
ship full.
5. Yeah.
There's a whole ship full of people that has this virus. I think where was it at? Florida or somewhere. And I just remember back during the pandemic, there was a couple of ships full of people with COVID, and they didn't know what to do with them. They didn't want to bring the boat back to shore. So here we go.
Here we
Because you
go.
got RFK. Uh, so they sit there, Neil, RFK, Trump, and all of them. They don't want vaccines for anything. They don't. And really, let's face it, that should be a personal choice, right? It should be available if you choose. No one should be forced to take it, but it should be available. Because guess what? They're sitting there totally vaccinated against these things like polio, and because when you went to school, you got these vaccines.
Hmm. I know back in the day, everybody had that little dot on their shoulder. I missed the dot on the shoulder, but my mother, her sisters, all the fam, they had that dot on the shoulder, and that you knew that you was vaccinated. That was the scar of proof.
Yep. Yeah, and so they are getting rid of anything health related, and there's the no how you say that word, no virus, or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it, outbreak. It hits a Holland American ship. It has since December, the 5th since December. Look at, and so one of the things that they're never going to do again, is certainly not under this administration, and I don't think any other administration is going to do it, but they're never going to shut down everything again like they did during the COVID pandemic. And so folks are just going to have to take their chances. I was telling Dr. Chavis yesterday that I think I'll take the Amtrak to Savannah when we have our conference. But then I looked at the trip time, Niel, and
Hmm.
I'd be on that train for about 15 hours. I don't know if I want to do that either. So
Somebody
is
told
anybody
me I
willing to?
need to I need to take the train to DC. I'm like, come on, I don't have that much time to waste. I got stuff to do.
Listen, maybe I need to get an Uber. Something. So I need a driver. I need a driver with a lot of room in the back so
Hmm.
I can stretch out and let the
You need an
driver
Uber
drive.
Black. You need an Uber
Yes.
Black SUV.
I had to take an Uber from Orlando to Jacksonville a few years ago
Mm.
because it was something with the Amtrak. I was leaving. I was leaving Orlando to go to Jacksonville, but something with the Amtrak happened, and I was like, you know what, I got to get there, and um, so I got an Uber, and it was like $190 something dollars, in which he gave me a discount, so it was really a lot more than that.
Mhm.
So I was like, listen, I got to get to where I got to go. But Mike V says he'll take Amtrak over Spirit. Listen, I'll walk before I take Spirit.
Let me tell you something about Spirit. You just have to know how to fly Spirit. Once you master flying Spirit, it's okay if it's a quick turnaround trip. If you don't have to check no luggage,
Greer, do you hear you hear the
you
blasphemy
don't have to,
that's
you
going
don't
on
have,
here?
you don't, as long as you don't have to take no luggage and it's like a quick trip to Vegas, I don't have no problem with Uber. Now, if I'm going on a vacation and I'm traveling more than 3 to 3 hours, it might be a little much. But Uber is just the Greyhound of planes. You know,
No,
it's
Spirit, you mean?
yes, it's Spirit. Spirit is the Greyhound of planes. So I mean, it's okay, but you know what Spirit is saying? We ain't had no crashes. We ain't had no
I
crashes in
am
the
not
sky.
listen. Shit. Somebody needs to tell Niel who she talking to. I am not getting on Spirit Airlines. I don't care if listen. If you heard that I was on Spirit Airlines, that means that I'm hostage. Somebody took me hostage or something.
Have you ever flown Spirit?
I am never gonna fly Spirit. Are you
Why?
kidding me?
Because of what you heard? Because of what you heard.
What I see all the time. Forget what believe it. Half of what you see and none of what you hear. Well, all the half that I see is I'm never getting on Spirit Airlines. I don't even fly Greer's plane, Southwest. She flies that sometimes when she's in a
You don't
pinch.
fly Southwest. You bougie with your flying?
Listen, what my wife she just wrote in that. She just said that too. Bougie. He said, but I like what Orange he said that he would ride with OJ Simpson before he flies Spirit.
Y'all, Spirit is not. I mean, it's bad, but it's not that bad.
And Mr. Durrett
Shoot.
knows I don't play with that Amtrak first
So
class.
that
I'm
means.
not doing it.
So what about Alaska? Alaskan Air and Frontier. You don't fly those
Oh
either?
my gosh, are you kidding? Frontier? That's only a tick up from Spirit. I am never getting on Frontier Airlines. Are you kidding me?
Shoot, sometimes they be having them $19 flights,
Right, and they can have them.
them $89 flights. And
Maria
it's
said she took
like,
Frontier 2 times to Arizona. I am just not. She said they got cardboard seats.
yeah, the
I
seating,
listen, I've already laid the gauntlet down that I understand that the time is quickly coming where I cannot fly first class anymore, which means I'm not flying anymore. That's
oh,
the bottom
okay.
line.
All right.
And
Well,
your
you sit
airlines
right
like Spirit
there.
and Frontier do not have first class.
It's not
So
my airline. I'm just saying I go for the deals.
I
Now
go for the
I'm
deal.
not now I'm not a Spirit, enthusiast to where, I'm just gonna always take Spirit. But being in LA, I don't mind taking Spirit to Vegas. I don't
Okay.
mind. You know what I'm saying? It's less than an hour flight. I don't have a
Mhm.
problem with it.
Well, Mike V is asking about JetBlue. JetBlue is cool.
Yeah. JetBlue's I like JetBlue. I
JetBlue
do.
is cool. I used to fly JetBlue all the time from California with my kids to New York constantly. That was the airline of choice right there. But I cannot do the other stuff.
But let's
So
stop talking
I
about these airlines because they're
yeah,
not,
yeah.
unless they sponsoring, let it be known.
Right. I
And
was
if
getting
it
ready to
ain't,
say. Getting
we
ready
giving
to
them too
say.
much. Yeah.
Um, and check this out. So Greer throws this in, and it's true. We saw this. So just to show you how bad social media is, humans now account for only 38.5% of internet traffic, with the remaining 61.5% being generated by non-human sources such as bots, hacking tools, and automated scripts. Uh, it's unreal. You don't know. That's the thing. Everything is just not what it appears. Nothing's what it appears, I should say.
Nothing. Mm-mm. Not even the pictures we see of ourselves. You have a filter, and I use a good filter every now and then. Those
Let me
filters
tell
look
you
good.
something. So we took some pictures a month ago, and one of the greatest photographers you'll ever find, Shep Photo, Jason Shepard, took our pictures, and it looked like you could either look at it one or two ways. We just stepped out of like GQ, or we were AI. Me and one of
Mm,
my daughters, but we look like we AI on these pictures. So, but you just don't know. You just
right.
don't know. But this 61.5% are being generated by non-human sources. That is incredible.
Mm.
Look,
This
Elon,
right
look at this.
here,
This
this
right
right
here.
here has
Hmm.
the Republicans, the elderly Republicans that voted for Trump. They pissed about this right here.
Oh my gosh. But everything is a grift. Everything. The president, he's sitting in the Oval Office selling "Make America Great Again" hats.
The fact
Now,
that he reposted this, um, it's scary because he's the president of the United States and he's infatuated with having statues built of him and taking over land that doesn't belong to him. He is living, you know how we say we are our ancestors' wildest dreams? He is his ancestors' wildest dreams and he is
that's a
living
great
up
point.
to it. Okay?
That's a That is a great point, without question. And to go along with that, here's what else. Now, we all heard of the green card. People come over and get a green card. Donald Trump now plans, this is from he sat in the Oval Office and said he plans to switch out the green card for a gold card, which would give people a path to citizenship for $5 million. He says,
Mm,
people who come over here under his plan, they will all be wealthy. This is a quote. This is not anything else. This is a direct quote. They'll be wealthy and they'll be successful and they'll be spending a lot of money. And here's the part that really will trip you up: and paying a lot of taxes. Now,
mm.
they just, at his behest yesterday, cut all the social service programs out of the budget so they can avoid taxing billionaires. This guy, no other president could have gotten away with this. And dare I
He
say, no other president would have even conceived of it.
he's gonna be in for a rude awakening. Cause ain't none of them people that he trying to give immigration cards to gonna come out here and pick none of our strawberries. they're not gonna they're not gonna do none of the jobs that we need to keep our economy going. They ain't gonna do none of that.
Mm-mm.
So we all are. We're gonna be in a for a rude awakening, and so is him and his administration.
Well, David Youngblood says we've already lost the country, and there are a lot of people who agree with David on that. A lot.
Hmm.
I mean, look what's going on. This is wow. He has not paid taxes. Right. He doesn't intend to pay taxes. He's never have. That was the whole idea of him not releasing his tax returns anyway. Remember he kept saying that, oh, they're being audited. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
We talked once before about the think tanks and the black. There are a couple of really good black think tanks, and the Joint Center for Political and Economic Studies being one of them, and they have released an issue brief titled Black student parents' access to affordable child care support at community college. It's a 13-page brief. I wrote about it yesterday for blackpressusa.com. And what it does is offer legislative recommendations to strengthen the program, particularly as Congress considers reauthorization of the Higher Education Act. But one of the things it found, Niel, was that Black students are disproportionately parents.
Mm.
And in fact, 36% of Black community college students and 40% of Black women in college are raising children. Black single mothers make up 30% of all undergraduate single mothers, with nearly 70% being first generation college students. So, more obstacles for African Americans in higher education.
Mm. Mm.
It's what, when Neil does that, it's like she has a lot to say, but chooses not to.
Mhm.
It's true. She's like,
Mm.
but so it's easy to look at that and say, okay, well, that's their fault. Nobody told them to be parents and, while going to school. But it's one of those things where it's a it's an environment, it's a community, y- it's what they know. Some in some cases, right? I always say that, and people wonder, okay, you're poor, but yet you're having all these kids. Well, one escape, because we all try to escape from
Mhm.
reality, no matter what, rich, poor, or whatever, right? That's why we go on vacations. One of the escapes poor folks have is that number one, they can't go away. They can't take the trips. They can't go to, on vacation like, maybe you or I can, or some others. But the biggest escape is sex.
Mm.
And that is, I'm not obviously what do you call it, a philosopher or a one of them scholars, but it's obvious. Um, and that drives the population. That drives the pregnancy rates in ghettos, whether it's Black ghettos or white ghettos. It's
Mhm.
simple that it's I got nothing else to do. Number one. Number two, you're just not you're looking for some sort of relief.
So if you're of a certain income, or if you don't have the means, you should you should have protected sex, or you shouldn't.
Well, that's true, but again,
I'm asking. I'm not.
right,
I'm
no,
asking.
no, but again, instead of buying a $5 box of condoms, they want to use that $5 for something else. Maybe something that they can eat. Maybe it's something that they can um, get high off of.
I'm confused though, because let the Republicans tell it. They don't want you having protected sex. They want
Oh,
you
oh, so they're outlawing it. They're trying to outlaw it. But yeah, and Trixie's point, people can still get pregnant with protected sex, but I really believe, and I think I saw years ago some sort of study about this, but I've always believed that is the case when you and it doesn't, folks, it's not Black folks alone. It's any depressed community that you go into. We lived in Scranton, Pennsylvania, right? And at one point. And the press community is a very white community. It's Hillary Clinton's and Joe Biden's community. They both have family there, but it's very depressed. It was
Mhm.
very stressed and de-stressed. And you found families with a lot of children. And so it only goes to my point, the white, Black, Hispanic. If you are living in poverty in an impoverished area, you are going to likely find large families. A lot of sex is going on. A lot of babies are being had. So prove me wrong. Prove me. It's like, how do we get to here?
I don't know, but I think it's a great time to pivot to our guest. So let's
I-
head to Chicago. There's a lot going on in the state of Illinois,
a
particularly
lot.
there were some elections that were happening this week. And I thought there was no other person that could help break this down than community activist and former candidate for mayor of Chicago, Jamal Green. Welcome to Let It Be Known, Jamal.
Did
That,
out right here that we are monitoring
oh,
a day that many say is a pivotal one for this community. They are escorting someone out we see here, but we do want to tell you that so many people told me they believe this is a new day for Dalton. Decision day in the village of Dalton, with senior trustee Jason House and his Clean House 2025 slate victorious in the Democratic primary for mayor. Incumbent Tiffany Henyard garnered 12% of the vote, while House garnered 87%. House's team declared victory shortly before 7:30.
Transparency starts today. It's a mandate. The community has demanded it. We're up for the challenge.
Henyard is under federal investigation. She's accused of questionable spending and retaliation. She did not make an appearance at her election night location, but we were told she would send a statement. With 17 precincts reporting, this primary election saw 4,446 ballots cast, which is higher than 4 years ago. Here's what voters were saying tonight.
Grateful for the residents, everybody coming to exercise their right to vote. We did it.
I just can't say enough about this.
You have a terrific staff in here that's going to come in here, and they are going to clean house.
So when we do get a statement from Mayor Tiffany Henyard, we will have it on our 4 a.m. news.
All right.
Like I was saying, welcome, Jamal Green.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for being
thanks
here.
for being here.
Yeah, I mean, let's start. Let's go back because
Mhm.
this whole Tiffany situation garnered national attention with the fight that happened at a city council meeting. And so she lost this week. Do you think that situation that happened in the city council meeting played a part in her losing this week?
No. She
Okay.
was going to lose regardless. I think this has been years in the making of a small city like Dalton, which is 5 minutes from Chicago. It's our next suburb. Getting all of this attention constantly from national and international press. Tiffany has been a terrible representation when it comes to just bad news hitting that small town, and it has affected the residents. No business has been able to be done in Dalton because she and the trustees don't get along, and she's not abiding by their rules. She has have done so much excessive spending in Dalton, in which they've had to cut the credit cards off. They've not paid certain bills that she has brought the village because they were excessive. So she was going to lose. The residents have not seen any business done in Dalton, and they've seen such a stain on Dalton for too many years and too many scandals. So it was bound to happen.
Wow. Yeah. And look, there's still that matter that the former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot found about Tiffany. What is the latest with that? Is she going to be prosecuted for that? Is she being prosecuted for that?
My sources say yes. And the only reason why they did not come in before the election was ended was because they didn't want to look like they were tipping the scale. Because if you come in and arrest somebody, during the election, you kind of tipping the scale politically for the other person. So usually they like to wait until the election is over. Now that the election is over, I think that we definitely will see some type of movement there. I think some of the problems that she's had when it comes to the feds, I think we can see, right? One of the things is she had a nonprofit in which she transferred money from the Thornton Township bank account to her nonprofit. And, the attorney general was trying to audit it and see where the money went, and they never released the records, right? I think there's plenty of different things of how she moved money to herself and to the nonprofit and to her friends. There were plenty of people that were on her payroll that shouldn't have been on the payroll, from her boyfriend on down. I think when it comes to money, I'm sure there's some things there, obviously, from what we see. And I think that we'll see the Fed step in at some point.
Real quick,
Now,
before you say something, Neil, let me just throw this in there. Uh, who voted for her? It seems like just her family voted for her because it was like she had
What it is.
500 votes.
she got
Who voted for
12%.
her?
She got 12% of the vote.
12%.
Yeah, she got her. She definitely got her behind kicked.
Right.
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
she got
Neil, I'm sorry.
12%. She got 12% of the vote. And her challenger, trustee Jason House, got 88% of the vote. What
Yes.
do you think about Jason House? Do you think that he was the best pick to become mayor?
I've been knowing Jason House for many years. I've been supporting him from the beginning. He's been a huge supporter of mine as well here in Chicago. I think that he is the boring guy that Dalton needs. He's not the person with a big personality, so you're not going to see much controversy from him, or you're not going to see him, doing much on TV. He's going to get the work done. He's previously a finance professional. He's been a consultant for major organizations as well. He wants to get the business done for Dalton. And what I know about him for many years is that, he has a lot of integrity. And he has a great heart and just want to do the work. So you won't see much from Dalton anymore. Trust me, after Jason House walks in, because Jason is just in the background, soft-spoken guy who's just going to get the work done.
David Youngblood is asking, was Tiffany corrupt or did things just get out of control?
Tiffany was definitely corrupt. She had a lot of the wrong people around her. And whenever you see the feds come in and start arresting everybody around the person that they truly want, then they're kind of closing in. So if they did get her chief of staff, who was her closest person, Keith Freeman, who he ran everything. His name was on her companies. He was the head honcho in charge for her and had his name on everything and her sole decision maker. The feds arrested him for fraud, in which it had nothing to do technically with the village, but he was. But it's one of those things where if the feds are coming after you because of all of this other attention, they're trying to make a deal with you, right? Then they turn around and they arrested the police chief for bankruptcy fraud. So I think the feds definitely have their hands in this, obviously, because they're arresting people in Dalton. This is a small city. Why would they be the focus on, several people in Dalton? And the only answer leads to, well, we really want Tiffany Henyard.
So there's a lot going on in Chicago in politics. One of the slogans is Chicago flips red. We had a couple of Danny from Chicago, Zoe Lee. We've been talking to them to get them to come on the show. What are your thoughts about the Black community heavily supporting Republicans, and why do you think that is?
Well, let me say that first, I identify as independent, and I don't believe that Black people should support any party, because I don't believe that any party represents our interests. But I also say that the Democrats have taken us for granted for a long time, that you do need some Black folks who's going to be radical enough to say, well, we're going to go to the other side, so that they can push the Democrats in the corner and let them know how bad they've been treated, right? And the Democrats needs a wake-up call, and have continuously gotten one. The wake-up call when Trump first won, and the wake-up call here when with Trump's second win, is showing you that when you get the power, you take your voters for granted, and you don't go in with the boldness needed to make things happen. And I think people are tired of that. When folks in this last, election, they looked at the migrant crisis and billions of dollars that were spent and buildings that were taken in their neighborhoods for shelters. And then they know that they aren't receiving that same support. They just look at they look at many different things to see how they were taken for granted, and they're saying, you know what, I'm sick of the Democrats. And some of those people say, I'm either not going to vote. Some of those people say, I'm going to go be radical and jump over to the Republican side. Then you got people like me who just sit in the middle and be a little critical. So I think that it's needed because the Democrats have taken us for granted, which is why a man who was charged, convicted, impeached twice, January 6th, we're going down the line, could come back and win. And that is solely because the Democrats, when they get power, they do not govern with boldness and get things done. They only govern to campaign. And we have to stop that.
Yeah. Before I ask my question, I just want to make sure I lift up a couple of our viewers and their comments. Dr. Marilyn Sturdivant says this is a lesson. She's talking about Tiffany Henyard. This is a lesson to Dalton to stop voting based on demographics and superficial characteristics. And Shawanda Woodson says again about Tiffany, absolutely did have a criminal clique. And Mike V is asking, do you think Tiffany will get a pardon from Trump? And someone else, Big T74, responds that she's not even on Trump's radar. I'll let you speak to that because I think I tend to agree with Big T74 that Tiffany's probably not on Trump's radar.
No, Donald Trump would definitely not pardon Tiffany Henyard. I'm pretty sure about that.
So let's talk about your run. You ran for mayor of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
What inspired you to do so, and what did you take away from that experience?
Well, what inspired me to do so is that there's not a voice that has been mayor who actually comes from the streets, who understands business development, but is really in tune with the people and popular amongst the people because of all the work that they've done. And my resume is larger than and longer than all of the politicians that run for mayor because I'm a community member and I have been doing this work since I was a teenager. So, you have a list of things that I've accomplished from the city, and changing a lot of different policies and laws from the city and the state and making the largest bank in the world give back $1 billion to Black people and, turning hundreds and hundreds of people into homeowners with our big housing agency. And we gave $250,000 when Black businesses were looted during George Floyd. I was there for them. So, whenever things happen in the neighborhoods, I've always kind of been their voice and been there to support the neighborhoods. But those neighborhoods, they don't like to vote, right? And it's because they feel, these are disenfranchised communities. They feel that the scale is tipped against them, and they pour money into these races to overshadow candidates like me, and you have the party and the unions who are trying to gain control with one candidate. What I learned is I didn't lose here. I'm the youngest candidate to ever run for mayor, and I beat all the elected officials in the race. And I think that showed them that a revolution is coming. And I think that showed them that the people are tired. And the only people that voted were 55 and over. And, I'll tell you what, if I got to depend on the baby boomers to elect me, it's not going to happen. So we got to, me being young is intimidating for the older generation. But I won every single debate. I had the highest approval ratings in all the polls, and I had the most visible campaign. And while those seniors, the very small percentage of people who vote in Chicago, 29%, majority those seniors didn't think that I was ready yet, age-wise. I know that there is a time in the future where if I decide to make that move, that it'll practically be given to me.
Mm. So you lost to Brandon Johnson. If you could give him a grade A to F, what would his grade be right now?
Well, I think Brandon Johnson is one of the worst, if not the worst, mayors that Chicago has ever had. And I don't say that lightly. Brandon, he never was prepared for this position, and he was a puppet for this position. The Chicago Teachers Union wanted to get back at Lori Lightfoot and utilize their beef against her. And so they just grabbed him out of nowhere and pulled him from the union. Someone who's with no experience in anything, someone has no accomplishments. He was a teacher for like 2 years who'd never seen a graduating class, and he never ran a business, never, managed anything, hired and fired anybody. And so, when you grab somebody like that and put them ahead of a $28 billion enterprise here in Chicago, he never even, his first time even coming to most parts of Chicago is when he was mayor. When he became mayor, he never been to the South Side before. So he had to be toured around Chicago when he became mayor. And we can't elect people who don't know Chicago, who don't have the experience to understand the people that need to be in place to help them move forward our city. And so I think he has been a terrible mayor. And I don't think it's his fault. It's just the fact that he just don't have it, and he doesn't have it naturally, and he doesn't have great people around him. And it's hard for him and it's hard for you to trust people when you are mayor of Chicago. So if you don't have good people, you'll just be picking whoever feels the most trustworthy, and usually those people are not the ones that should be in power.
One of our viewers with the screen name of Nagon, Nagone 11, is encouraging you, Jamal. He says, he or she says, not all older people, many like to see young, sharp folks getting involved. So Nagon 11 is telling you or encouraging you to keep running. With that said, you said earlier in this discussion that you was talking about why it's healthy that some Black folks, how Democrats let Black folks down and they went to the other side. Some will argue though that many will argue that was now the time though to go to the other side when you see what has transpired. You knew what was coming. They told you Project 2025 was coming. Was now the time to take that particular stand?
Black people have been through every project there is. I think that we gotta really understand where we are and see Democrats play into symbolism. This is why I'm independent, because I don't play into symbolism. The reality of the fact is that, Black people have been through everything that you can name. Trump is nowhere even close to the level of what we've been through in this country. And to act like those issues started because of Trump, and kind of utilize every power and fiber in our body to act like he is our enemy, I think it's insane. Under every Democrat, mass incarceration, redlining. We can go through policies from the past, from Jim Crow to war on drugs to, we've been through a lot. So I don't get into the fear mongering of, projects. Well, where was our Project 2025? Where was the Democrats' Project 2025 that had a plan on how, they were going to benefit Black people? And we didn't do that. And so now every election, what kills me is that every election we play to fear. We don't play for hope. We're not saying, hey, here's an agenda, guys. This is how I'm going to change your life, and making people excited to vote. Instead, we're just waiting to see who's the Republican so that we can say, hey, we are just going to put up a candidate just to beat them. That tactic is not going to work anymore. And right now, we need real tangibles. We need real hope. We need somebody as bold as Trump on the Democrat side, who's going to come in and move forward policies for moderates and the left, but be bold in doing so. And they're right, not those who just going to get in and continue to be puppets of the establishment. People are tired of puppets. People are tired of electing people who are just going to sit there for 4 years and get elected again and be there for 8 years. They're sick of it. When you get in, we need real tangible change. So I don't get into the fear mongering. I don't think, I think that after Trump does what he does, we'll have a more clear pathway of how to rebuild this country. So if he goes in and wreck everything, hopefully the Democrats are prepared in 4 years to put somebody in there and they'll have a clear vision on how to really move forward our country even better.
But Jamal, I think though that I hear what you're saying, but I don't necessarily agree with what you're saying. I think that you have discounted. Yeah, you mentioned some stuff like the war on drugs and things like that, and those really hurt our communities really bad. But I think you have totally overlooked the accomplishments. And listen, I'm not sitting here capping for one candidate over the other, but I think you've totally ignored the accomplishments, what HBCUs had gained, what under other administrations, including the Biden-Harris administration. I think you don't take into account things like the Inflation Reduction Act, which helped a lot of Black communities. And you also, I think you missed the mark too, because you're overlooking the fact too that you have someone here who is totally against things like the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. You had an administration that pushed that, but they just didn't have the Congress. Let's talk about civics, because civics will tell you that the president can't do it all. But in this case, you have a president now, for the first time in American history, you have somebody who's a king.
Yeah, we got to stop capping for the Democrats.
Hey, I'm not capping for him. I'm just telling you right now.
This is where
what you said. No, what you said was so that you gave a Republican talking point. As an independent, you gave a Republican talking point.
No, now here's the thing. Black people got to stop talking about what's talking points. We don't have a party, okay? Because your party didn't move forward anything that you're talking about, and they had a super majority.
It's not my party. You're saying your party. You don't want me to
I'm not gonna say.
I gave you the credit of saying you're an independent.
Well, let's let him off. Let him answer.
All right, I stopped. I made it. I didn't agree with you, but I was quiet. Now, here's the thing. The reality is when you say what you're saying, I'm not going to say, oh, that's a Democrat talking point. I'm not. Okay. I'm talking to you as an individual. An individual.
You are, and I get that, but this is what the Republicans say, though.
Okay, but I don't care what the Republicans say. I don't care what the Democrats say. And guess what? Before, the Republicans are saying a lot of things that the Democrats used to say. The Republicans are saying, oh, we're pro-peace. Now the Democrats used to say that they're pro-peace. The talking points move all the time. I'm telling you about what's right and what's wrong. And the reality is that Democrats had super majorities several times. In the last 16 years, the Democrats had.
When was the last time they had a super majority? Well, that's not true. That's not true.
Okay. First of all, Obama had a super majority. Joe Biden also had a super majority, even though he had a rogue vote.
That's not true.
But the reality is
that's not true.
No, he did. But he had Senator Manchin, who was throwing things. I mean, Manchin, who was throwing things off.
Even without Manchin, it wasn't a super majority, though.
Here's the thing: Joe Biden did have a chance to move forward very bold measures with a House and a Senate Democrat when he first got in. It wasn't as large as Obama's, but it was large. And the fact is that he did not move forward. None of these. This is what I'm talking about. People talk about the Supreme Court, but we had the White House 12 out of the 16 years, and we didn't try to pack the court. We didn't make Ruth Bader Ginsburg retire. And all of these different things. We let these justices die while Trump was in office, rather than utilize the power to do something about the Supreme Court. When you want to talk about Roe v. Wade, did we codify Roe v. Wade? No, but we run on it like it's we run on it.
Roe v. Wade is not a black issue.
No, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying
it's a woman's issue. I'm a black woman, so it is a black issue.
But what I'm saying is, when you talk about Democrats, I am sick of people letting them off to the hook for the fact that when they actually have power, they don't use it. So you talking about the George Floyd Act? Where is it? It didn't make it anywhere. All of these different things that have happened throughout the year,
but why though?
Did not move forward because you have a weak president and a weak Democratic Party who do not put black interests first. So they're going to put every other interest. I tell you plenty of things that was passed in this same time frame. I tell you plenty of people who were pardoned, like Hunter Biden before he left. How many black people did he pardon?
I would have pardoned Hunter Biden.
I'm just saying. I ain't saying he wouldn't. I ain't saying that he wouldn't. I wouldn't. I would definitely pardon my son, but I'm just saying how many black people he pardoned. So I'm saying when we talk about black people, don't act like these people had us as a priority. We never was. So that's not what I'm saying is not a Republican talking point, because I can tell you on both sides the issues. What I'm saying is they need to get their stuff together or they're going to keep on losing, because on the Republican side, they're being bold enough to keep energizing their base. The Democrats are not being bold enough to keep energizing their base. That's the issue.
I disagree, but we can't spend more time on that. I just fundamentally disagree.
But I think this is a great example of a generational conversation as to where, you spoke about that earlier, Jamal, that you were young and the older generation didn't like it, or they hadn't come to the well yet. And so how you see things is really how your generation sees things, and how Stacey's generation
is going to keep losing.
And that's why we have this
debate us instead of sit back and listen. And so they're gonna keep losing, and we ain't gonna vote. We're not voting with y'all no more. So you need to the older generation need to step back and stop thinking they got enough people now, because they don't. So now you need the next generations to help you win. You need to come and talk and listen to the next generations, and not think, oh, we know it all, you must follow us, because y'all just gonna keep losing.
I think this is the healthy
you keep
conversation.
saying y'all. I just make it clear.
This is
that's not. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not.
This is a healthy.
But
this is a healthy.
The bottom line is before. Wait, I know. No, but the bottom line here is that what I keep hearing is what I heard last Friday from those black MAGAs was that the same thing I heard from them was that we'd rather go with the slave master than Harriet Tubman. That's what I'm hearing.
That's not what I said. And nor did I say support Donald Trump, nor did I say we move to the Republicans. And I started this whole conversation with I'm independent and I don't believe in either party. That was my first sentence when I started this interview. So, we have to stop being triggered just because somebody's critical. And we're critical of them too. We're problem. That means that we are critical as well.
We are very critical.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is what happens is when we criticize the party or we criticize a policy of party, now it's like, you're a Republican. No, let me be critical. And you talk to me about, you think that you're right all the time. You're not. And we have a right to be critical of how the Democrats
absolutely do,
without saying that we supporting Trump.
No, but
we gotta stop that.
But Jamal, the point is not that you yourself is supporting Trump. We had some black MAGAs on who does support Trump.
Yeah.
The point is that there's no argument to be made that what we're seeing now is better for us than what we've seen under Biden, what we've seen under Obama, what we've seen under Clinton.
And that's in your view, because I can tell you what, all them presidents were garbage too. So,
I don't disagree with that either, but we
got to stop acting like we had a president for black people. We don't. We didn't. And we ain't. Our black lives, the black wealth is steady on the decline today. Black home ownership rate has never risen. We are still being redlined. We're still being incarcerated at an all-time rate.
But the black unemployment under Biden was the lowest in the history of this country.
So let's stop acting like any of these presidents have changed our lives. The reality is we got to focus on how do we build an agenda for Black people and force whomever in power to make sure that they adopt our agenda. That's what the Jews, you think the Jews and pro-Israel, you think they care about who's the president? No, because guess what? Whether it was Kamala or Donald Trump, they both was going to be pro-Israel. We knew that. Whether, these groups of people are going to make sure their agenda is met. Black people got to do better of unifying and putting our agenda to the table and stop talking about Democrats and Republicans and all these labels when it don't matter who's Democrat or Republican. Black people still ain't going to be prioritized.
Jamal, I want to ask a question. What are your thoughts about, we're talking Democrat, Republican, and then we're talking Black agenda, but what do you think about the younger lawmakers like the Jasmine Crockett's, the AOC's, the Ayanna Presley's? What are your thoughts on them?
First, I love the young talent. What I don't love is how young talent kind of conforms to the party. I love Jasmine Crockett's spirit. Now she has said some things that I disagree with. Like lately, she got mad that that Doge said that, oh, we're gonna give a portion of the earnings back to the people and give everybody $5,000 checks, right? And she was like, no, we ain't into giving out money. I was like, huh? The Democrats passed the stimulus checks. You should. I think what my issue is with when it comes to now is that the Democrats really don't know how to pivot and go against Donald. So anytime anything is done, we got to fight against it. No, we can be like, all right, we with this, okay, but we against this. We with this. We gotta know how to pick our battles. You get what I'm saying? Like if they want to give $5,000 checks to every American, all right, we just gave billions. First of all, Joe Biden just gave billions of dollars to the migrants. Okay. So to say, hey, we don't want to give $5,000 checks to every American, but then we turn around and see that we spent $450 billion on migrants. It looks to Black people like, hold on, you slapped me in the face because we just spent billions of dollars on these migrants right here in my front yard. You get what I'm saying? So we just have to choose our battles correctly. But I love Jasmine Crockett's spirit. I think she's a great young talent. The issue is there must be an agenda that is surrounded around Black people. It's just like, how do Black people be the voters that Democrats truly need? But reparations have never been on the agenda. But it's so many different Black agenda policies. We built this. What are we talking about here? Every president, Obama, Bill Clinton, all these presidents have had Black support and have never moved forward real Black repair or move forward all we want to do is keep saying we want to study it. There's nothing to study. Black people deserve reparations in this country. And if you want Black support, now Black people are more awakened now. So Kendrick Lamar was even on the Super Bowl, like 40 acres and a mule. You get what I'm saying? Like it has now become the discussion and still the Democrats have not adopted it. And that's the biggest thing for Black people right now. So we got to have things that's going to energize our real bases. And if you want Black people, then move forward a real Black agenda piece.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Jamal. Appreciate it.
Yes, and we'd love to have you back. This conversation is ongoing.
Anytime for our people. And I appreciate you and appreciate all the perspectives because all the perspectives, they matter. We just got to do better of listening to each other and see where we can agree without labeling each other. And, we got to have real arguments here and a plan on how to move forward.
Jamal Green, a Chicago activist and former mayor candidate. Thanks for joining. Let it be known. You gotta be kidding me.
No, I mean, but you can't be dismissive because this is really a feeling of the younger generation, generation, and this is how they feel.
And this is how lost they are if they feel that way.
I don't think that he's lost. I think that he has.
If you think that if you think that what's going on today is somehow better for Black folks, then you're lost.
I don't think that it's better.
Better for women. You mentioned women too. Better for women.
an awakening. But you said that women abortion is not a black person's
It's
issue.
not.
And
It's
I'm
not a
saying,
no.
but
What
as
I'm
a
telling you
black
is
woman,
overall,
it
when
is
you
an
took
issue for me.
no,
But you
but
can't
I
say
get
that
it,
as a woman. You can't tell me
Neil.
that that's not a
No,
black issue as a black woman.
Neil, Neil. You talk. I guarantee you. You had the pastor on the other day. Ask her, was that an issue in her church? Roe v. Wade was not an issue for overall. It was not a big issue. Maybe I
We're
shouldn't say
talking.
not an issue. Not a big issue for black people. It
Are you
wasn't.
talking about today or from the past? Are you talking about
I'm talking
today or
about
from the past?
Roe. No, I'm talking about when the Supreme Court made that decision a couple of years ago. It was not a big deal for black folks.
I
They tried to tell you it
disagree.
was.
No, you cannot tell me as a black
No, man,
woman that
I
that was
said
not an issue for us.
I
And
didn't.
I'm telling you
I'm
that it
saying a big.
was.
It was not a game changer for black folks. It was not a game
For
changer.
black women, it was. How can you speak? See, now you're using a Trump talking point because
No,
men
it
want to
wasn't.
tell women
No,
what to do with our
look at the
bodies.
polling from
And
black women.
you're being dismissive of how me as a
Neo,
black woman and
I'm not. I'm not. I'm again. It may have been an
you're
issue
being
for some.
dismissive of how a black woman is feeling about a lot of black women feel this way. It's a woman's right to choose, and women are some women are black. We feel a certain way about that. Stacey, don't be dismissive of that.
What I'm trying to tell you is factual that it was not a game changer for black women who voted. It was not a game changer.
I disagree.
I do too. I
Okay.
totally disagree.
I,
And
I,
you're
I'm
telling
just
me
but
as a
I want
woman. You're telling me as a black woman, and I'm telling you that it is. And you're being
okay. So
dismissive.
but say it is as big an issue as you guys saying it was for black women. Say it is. Who put that in motion? Donald Trump. So again, even if you are right, then he's wrong again by blaming the Democrats. That was a Joe Biden Supreme Court decision. I mean, a Donald Trump Supreme Court decision.
Well, I want to interject here because I think part of the issue that black folks have and what gets I think we need to have these dialogues, but we have to make space for all perspectives because what happens in Chicago, what happens in DC, what happens in LA
I don't
is
think you make. I think you do make space for different perspectives, but I don't think you want to give a spotlight on certain certain things that are so harmful. I think he is very harmful. I think
okay.
he's
Oh, I
extremely
totally
harmful.
disagree. I totally disagree. And
I know.
you're disregarding a whole generation of people that we need to be
I
a
don't think
part
it's a
of the
whole
process.
generation of people. Again, the
Why
polls
do
Yeah,
don't
you
but
think
show
that?
that there's that many people who agree with that guy.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Let me stop right there. Let me just throw something in there that a lot of black folks who want to be critical of Jamal, nobody put no skin in the game. People want to talk.
But
This
that's
man, and then
bullshit.
listen. No, listen.
I
No,
don't
no,
care.
no.
It's
But
like
listen.
shit it
I'm
out.
not.
You don't
I'm
have to
not.
put skin in the game if you're gonna be
Listen.
that stupid.
No.
And
But
see
see,
that
that's
right
wrong.
there, that
That's
right
wrong.
there, that
And
comment
that's
right there was not even necessary because I think that he's a very intelligent person with a great perspective. And that is why the
Okay.
Democratic
it's different.
Party, because you
Mhm.
disregard how people are
Right.
feeling.
And
Okay,
we
but
can't
feelings
afford
is
to
one
do
thing,
that.
and where has
People
feelings
are
got you?
feeling.
Stick to the facts, is what I'm saying. Stick to the facts.
Yeah, but we also can't impose things that there were things that you said that he was saying that he did not say. I don't agree with everything that Jamal. Listen, let
He
me just make a point.
recouched it, and
He did. Yeah, you're absolutely right. He did say some things that were misleading, that sounded like conservative talking points. I will agree to that, right? But we still have to understand what his generation, because that generation, they're willing to get involved. If they're willing to put their support behind, I'm not going to put him in the same category as the guy who's walking around with the Jamal Bryant. Those people are different. They just want to be seen. They just want to grift. But a Jamal Green is trying to figure this stuff out and come up with solutions for Black folks. So, while I don't agree with his perspective on everything that he said, there are some things that we can agree. I'm not talking about the facts or anything like that. But the reality is you and I are going to be gone, okay, under the ground before he will, God willing, right? If we work, we're talking about, and if we're talking about, just, living a long life or whatever, we've got more years behind us than he does. And so at the very least, we need to, I know a lot of people say, oh, he was a waste of time, because we're emotional right now, but what's happening with good reason. But
But
But-
again,
Let me just say this. Jamal just text. Wait, let me just say, Jamal just text. He said, I was the spokesman for Bernie Sanders for 2 elections. Our generations
you could have told that on here. I don't want to hear
rebuild
that.
the Democratic Party. But
the
it's
thing
not
about it
what
is,
you want to hear. It's about
no,
what
it
we
is.
need to
It's
be
sort of what I
talking
want to hear
about.
too. Now, shoot,
But
I don't want to hear.
but you said you
after-
don't want to hear it, but we're trying to have a conversation about how we're gonna a Black agenda, and a Black agenda is debatable. It ain't just what this generation wants. It's about what's best for Black folks. And sometimes you're not going to agree with it, but it doesn't mean that it's not a
That
valid
doesn't mean I
talking
gotta
point.
sit here and listen to some nonsense, though, because most of that was nonsense. Most of it was nonsense.
I disagree. I disagree.
I know you disagree, but and again,
disagree.
to Dr. Sturtevant's point, again, she misread too. I'm talking about what the polling showed. I didn't give that's not my opinion. That's what the polls show. That's what
And we
Black
know what
people
a poll. We
themselves
know what
said.
a poll. And we know who gets polled.
Oh.
Okay, let's talk about who gets polled. I know I didn't get no phone call.
Okay, the next time you're on the Win with Black Women call, bring that question up. Was that a game changer for you?
I will.
92% of them said no.
The president of Planned Parenthood is a Black woman. Let's ask
92%
Let's ask
of them
the
said.
president of Planned Parenthood.
You
She's a
said
Black
every
woman.
day, Niel. You said every day. 92% of Black women went with Kamala. 92%. That means 92% of them. That issue was not a game changer.
Ask Kamala if it
signed,
was a game
sealed.
changer.
You just
That was one of her
you can't have
major
it both
talking
ways.
points. No, that was one of
You
her
can't have-
major
you-
talk. That was
you
one of
cannot
her
have it
major
both
talking
ways.
points. A
You can't
woman's
have it
right
both
to
ways.
choose. A woman's right to choose was a major talking point for the Harris campaign. What are you talking about? Reproductive rights was on the ballot. They used that as a talking point.
Okay, your boy just threw that out there as a pro-Trump thing, though. So where's your smoke for him?
Okay, now you can't have it both ways. We're not talking about J Maul right now. We're talking about what you said. You said that.
But you want to lift up, but you want to keep lifting up this dude.
Because he had a valid point. He's speaking, he is representing a generation of talking points, and you're
No,
being
he's representing
dismissive.
himself. He's representing himself. I don't
You're
think there's a
being
generation
dismissive.
behind him.
You can't say that young man is very prominent in the Chicago area. The reason why I found out about him because he helped one of my friends in Chicago. He is doing the work.
So you have an affinity toward him.
No,
and so you're
because
going to stick up for him.
No, because I know the work that he does. I know the work that he does in Chicago. He helps people. He's boots on the ground. He's boots on the ground. He's not just speaking from a podium.
Right. That doesn't make him right.
And it doesn't make him wrong either.
Okay. So your opinion is that he's not wrong, and my opinion is he's totally wrong.
I didn't say that he was 100% right. I said I believe that he has valid points. I agree. I agree that he has valid points. I do.
Right. So we disagree. Yes. I just think that was more of the same from last week is what I see.
Totally different. But But if we really want to be real about the conversation, this is where the rubber meets the road for our community. This is where the rubber is meeting the road, because we got to find a common ground. What is the Black agenda? Okay, because you're arguing this, he's saying that, but at the end of the day, his point was, what is the Black agenda? You're toting traditional talking points from the Democrat, Republican, the way America is. What he's saying is, what is the Black agenda? How will Black people benefit from any of this? That's his point. That's what I got from that. I'm not saying that all of his points should be in the Black agenda, but at the end of the day, his point was, where is the benefit for African Americans?
I got something totally different from that. So, different perspectives, different folks, different strokes.
I love it. This is good. This is what we want to do.
Shonda, I don't think you have to be. Oh, you can listen to other perspectives. That don't mean you have to be open to them. I'm not open to what folks are doing with this stuff.
I'm open because I'm always wanting to learn. I'm not just like,
I don't think you
it's
can
this
learn from
way or
everybody.
the hallway.
Yeah, I don't think you can learn from everyone. I don't think you can learn from everybody. I think what you learn is that there are certain people that you don't need to be involved with.
Let me tell you something. I can't stand Donald Trump, but you know what I've learned from him? That
you don't want him as your president.
No. Let me tell you what I've learned from him is that he is exercising the right of that office the way that I would have wanted Barack Obama and Joe Biden to do. He is
but that's not
that
what
office.
see y'all
so
say
I've
that.
learned that from him.
Wait, y'all
say
y'all say that, but y'all would
y'all they push they utilize
y'all
that
say
power.
That. It's interesting y'all say that, because had Obama or even Bush tried something like that, y'all would have been right on that bandwagon too, of saying no, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. You say it now because you see that this man is dismantling lives.
See,
now if Obama was
thinking,
well, I'm just saying, we hear this stuff. I want this, I want that, but if Obama or Bush or Clinton or any of them would have tried this, come on, you gonna tell me you'd have been good with that?
Let me tell you this. I thought that the second term of the Obama administration would be more intentional for Black folks. And I love Barack Obama, but he remained the president of the entire United States. I felt like the first term, okay, we got to wait. But once you get in there that second term, I expect you to paint at least one of them rooms Black and put your foot on the pedal. And that did not happen. And then you have somebody like Donald Trump. He's putting his foot on the pedal, and he is pushing that executive branch to all that he can. That's what I wanted to see from a book.
So you wanted to see Obama in his second term break laws? Listen, that's what's going on.
I wanted him to exercise his right as the president of the United States. I would have preferred to see some more symbolic executive orders. I wanted to see that, but you wanted to do the politics as usual, and I think that speaks to Jamal's point. It's like we're playing politics as usual when we have opportunities to do more.
But here's the thing, and again, he talked about a supermajority that didn't exist. And again, this is where folks go so wrong, and I see Chuck D talk about it a lot. And he says it a lot. Take a civics lesson. This man, he ran for mayor, so he knows about civics. He's playing y'all with his talk because he knows about civics. He knows how government works. He knows that Obama or Joe Biden or even Bush or Clinton, they didn't have super majorities. They didn't have the votes. When we talked about the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, when we talked about the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, he didn't have the votes. Didn't have the votes. But then you want to put it on them, and now you are teaching. You want to teach, but teach truth. And the truth is, this is how civics work. The president, until now, didn't have absolute power. That was the point of the Constitution. That was the point of the different branches of government. So the president wouldn't have absolute power. This guy comes on, Jamal comes on here and tells you guys and wants you to buy it because he's saying it all fancy that
He said it in
Biden
layman's terms.
that
He
Biden
didn't even use no big words.
no, we gotta defend him. Cut it out, Miel.
And he brought up a good point. I mean, no, cut it out. He brought up the justices. Since you want to bring that up, he had a very valid point.
No, he didn't, because Mitch McConnell was the one who stole those judges from Obama.
Trump made certain people retire to put the people that he wanted in. Okay,
That's not true. That's also
he
not
did.
true.
Okay,
We had deaths. There was deaths.
no, but somebody else retired though. And
he didn't
you
make
the best
it. Was
bet.
one
And you,
person of the three. It was one person, and he didn't make him retire.
how do you know? Were you in the rooms? Were you on the phone calls?
Oh, okay, same thing with you. How do you know?
Because he has a pattern. He has a pattern of doing what he wants, just like he got that vote yesterday.
Isn't that speculation?
He has a pattern. He has a pattern, and you could best believe somebody else gonna retire
Mitch
from that court too.
Mitch McConnell was the one responsible for
And that's
these
your
judges.
opinion. Mhm,
That's
that's your
That's
opinion.
fact. We saw. Wait a minute. That's not an opinion. That's fact. We saw it happen in real time. We saw Mitch McConnell stand up there and say, "We will not even vote on Obama's judges."
Oh no, you're right about that. Okay, yeah, you're right about that.
So again, what Jamal said was not factually correct, and that's
I
the
mean,
point.
if you
That was
don't,
my
you
that
could
was that
be
was my point.
dismissive of
Let's be
him.
no,
You could
let's
be
be
dismissive of
factual is what
Jamal
I'm
if you
saying. We
want,
supposed,
but this is a generational conversation, and I
but
think we need
again,
to
y'all
have more
giving
of
him
them.
too much credit. I don't think
No,
that
and you're not
there
giving
are
them
that
enough.
many.
You're not
Okay.
giving them enough.
And never will I, because I don't think there's many who I don't think there's that many who think like him. We see the few that they put on TV, but again, you guys said it yourself. 92% of black women, 80 something percent of black men,
78% of black men.
78% of black men. That's a whole lot of people, a lot of black folks. 92 black and 78 went the same way that I'm saying. So I can't give you that all of these people are thinking like
But it
Jamal.
wasn't enough. It wasn't. And
It's never enough.
let me tell you, and a lot of that 92% and that 78%, we did it because Kamala, we supported our own. But that percentage was gonna be lower if Biden would have stayed on the ticket. Let's really get
Okay.
down to
Okay.
mathematics
So
of
now
it
you're
all.
saying something very interesting. So you're saying that some of these 92% would have supported Trump if Biden
No,
stayed
they
in the race.
just were not enthused. Kamala came in and she enthused the base. She gave us something to
Okay.
hope for. Okay. A lot of people were going to hold their nose and vote for Joe Biden or not vote at all.
Okay.
Kamala came in and she re-engaged and motivated. And a lot of it had to do because she was a black woman. So, I mean, this conversation going on, but we can't stay on live forever. So let's move on and we will continue this conversation. And for those new viewers that tuned in, the person that popped on the screen was our executive producer, Greer. And sometimes she'll do that, but she's going to have to cut on her camera next time.
Oh, we said that the last time.
Okay, where we at, Stacey? Where are we going to?
So where were we? That was enough to throw us off. We're not yet at Black History Moments, but let's go back to a couple of things I wanted to mention too. That of course this is not a black issue, but Gene Hackman died. Found his body alongside his wife and his dog. So that's really interesting. Gene Hackman was 95 years old. Yeah, the original Lex Luthor in the movie Superman, the first Superman. Really good, great actor. Really enjoyed his stuff. But Gene Hackman died at the age of 95. His wife was 63 years old. So I'm really looking to see what the cause of death was here. because that is that is something really strange. The dog was dead alongside them as well. So
Oh, well,
we
TMZ is on the case. They
TMZ
gonna
is
let
going to
us
get
know.
right. Well, without question. Here and something else. Dr. Linda J.M. Holloway, who's an associate professor at Alabama State University, has teamed up with one of her favorite colleagues, Dr. April T. Berry, an adjunct professor at the University of South Alabama, to launch a curriculum study guide for Kendrick Lamar's 2025 Super Bowl halftime performance. Both women say that Kendrick used his platform to take the world to a brief classroom encounter. So, what do you think of that?
I said that yesterday, that somebody's gonna come up with a curriculum for that Super Bowl performance, and there you have it. But speaking of Kendrick Lamar, something else is trending. There's a photo going around of him from 2022, where he was taking psychology classes at UCLA to enhance and master his penmanship. So he, and there's a picture. He's in class, psychology class, UCLA, advancing his penmanship and, his knowledge. So, I mean, I hope that he pulls up to this college, Alabama State University, and expounds on that performance and the evolution of it, because it's definitely a history book lesson. I love it.
Yeah, and as we talked about, as time has passed, I got to learn more and more about the real meanings behind his Super Bowl performance. So it was really interesting, because at first, when I look at it, I'm like, dang, this is not a Super Bowl type performance. This is just boring.
I wish. See, don't rile me back up again, please.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying because I readily admit I did not get it at first. I did not get it. It went right over my head. But the more you see what's unfolded, and then the more you get to understand because I don't follow Kendrick Lamar, but then I'm told that he won the Pulitzer Prize and he did this is
Do you
how
like
he does
Drake?
things.
Do you like Drake?
No, heck no.
Oh, okay.
He not like us.
Drake is a good party song. He turns up. Kendrick Lamar more is a thought-provoking person, to where you want to listen to when I listen to his music, I learn, and he has so many metaphors, and he's just a deep thought, a person, he's intentional about what he's saying, and he's trying to give us a message and not just an opportunity to twerk. So I love that about him as an artist. But then at the same time, sometimes you just want to twerk, and then that's where you go to Drake.
That's where you go to Drake? Is that what Drake's music makes you do?
Drake is a good time. He's a
Drake is a good time.
sing-along. He's a sing-along, makes the girls feel good, makes you want to turn up at the club. Kendrick has some bangers that you could turn up to the club, but he's also going to give you something to chew on and think about too, which is the difference.
Orange G says he needs to stop using the N word. Who is he? Drake or Kendrick?
Yeah.
Which one?
I don't know.
So which one uses the N word a lot?
I don't know if Kendrick uses it a lot. I'm sure that he has, but I don't think he uses it. But Greer says both.
Oh, both. Yeah, somebody responded to a a social media post of mine's and used the N word, and I reported them, and they got in Twitter jail because I don't use it, and I don't want it used. And we're not friends on social media. This was a person that came, and so I don't do that. That's not my bag. So I just think I really have a strong belief that rappers, everybody should stop using that word, period. I really believe that because here's the thing. We get so upset when somebody who don't look like us say it. So why are we saying it?
Well,
and saying it, just constantly saying it too. It's all, now it's the N word and the B word, and it's like, come on, aren't we better than this?
The new N word for white folks is DEI.
Yeah,
They just
DEI.
call us
Yeah.
DEI. But I know what you're saying, okay? I know what you're trying to tell me.
Right.
I know what a DEI is in your book.
David says he uses the N word when he talks about white folks voting their inward interest.
Remember, and so I'm not even gonna go there.
What insult? What insult?
Back in the day, my grandfather, the old elders used to call the saltine. I'm not gonna say it.
Oh
but the
gosh.
saltine.
Oh gosh.
And Woody Wood.
Yes. Yes, that word was used a lot too. But but to your point, do you really hear that word at all anymore?
No, but I want to say it a lot when I see Donald Trump and Elon Musk. I tell you that much.
But you control yourself.
I say it in my house with the windows open.
You don't close the windows.
No, I say it a lot.
But it's interesting that we do hear we hear so much of the N word, but we don't hear that C word.
No,
that you're talking
saltine.
about.
We just call them
Right.
saltine. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, why is that?
I think that it's an outdated word. I grew up in
So
a
the
time.
N word is not outdated?
No, the N word, it depends on, they say if you use the O, well, if you use the O, we used to be called Negro. You can find that on some of our birth certificates.
Speaking of that, did you see what's his face? The New York
But it's
Mayor Adams? Did you he's getting a lot of backlash?
Yeah, we didn't talk about that today.
Yeah. He said, you Negroes who didn't vote for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or something about you Negroes who didn't who called for my resignation. He's getting a lot of heat for that.
And wasn't he at a
was out
Black
of pocket.
History program?
He's at a Black History program. Yeah, exactly. Trump gave him a big pass, and we gotta find out exactly what the cost of that pass was soon enough. I'm pretty sure.
David Youngblood said, I also use saltines.
Saltines. No, you know what Orange G uses? I'm surprised he didn't weigh in. He uses mayonnaise. You ever say that? You ever use that term?
I've never used mayonnaise.
Neither have I, but he uses that a lot. I've noticed that. Mayonnaise. But the C word, that's you brought that up. Now it's gonna be sticking in my head because I have not heard that term in forever. It's like the other word.
Woody Wood?
No,
Woody
not
Wood?
that one. With the H. With the
Put it
Y
in
at the
chat.
end.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about now?
No, put it in the chat. I don't know. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about that is a Black History moment. Back in the day, they used to say.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we can go on the terminology that used to be used a lot. But again, to my point, the one thing that remained was the N word, and I wish they would get rid of it.
Yeah.
And we're the only ones that can do that.
True.
Because listen, I say it all the time. Every single time there is a slur or a slander against anybody Jewish, the Anti-Defamation League immediately shuts it down. And that should be the way it is with the N word. Should be the N word. There we go.
It's so funny. Greer put it in there, but George Jefferson used to say that all the time.
All the time. All the time.
I wish we could pull a clip and let him say it.
All the time. So Dr. Sturdivant has made it to work.
Let's move on a serious note. Tomorrow. If you gotta go grocery shopping, if you have to get gas, whatever you have to do it today, because tomorrow we are on boycott. Watch. So
Yeah.
tomorrow is the big day. Various groups have been calling for a widespread boycott to protest corporations who are following President Donald Trump's lead,
Wait,
rolling
time
back
out.
that DEI
Wait,
initiatives.
Neil, Claudette Perry. She says she never heard any of those words, but her father used to use peckerwood.
See, I was trying to be nice, Claudette,
I'm
and say
done.
Woody
I am
Wood.
done with all y'all this morning.
Woody Wood.
I am done with all y'all.
Woody
And Miss Perry
Wood.
gonna make things worse. She gonna just chime in and just throw fire on the gasoline. That is horrible.
Hilarious.
Oh
I
my
mean, they
God.
call us DEI, DEI. We DEI now.
I'm done. It's been quite the morning, and now she
It has.
Talk about peckerwood. I haven't heard that forever either. That's what you was trying to say.
Yeah, I said Woody Wood.
You said what?
Do you know Woody Wood, the cartoon? I didn't say
Yes, I
Dalton,
know.
man.
Goodness grief.
Hong Kong,
now I know.
at the EY.
Oh Lord.
Okay, we gonna move on. Seriously, tomorrow the boycott, guys. On a
Yes,
serious
and
note.
they say with the boycott is if you have to buy anything, make sure it's something. Go local, a local mom and pop shop. If you have to, no Amazon, no Walmart, certainly no Target.
No gas. Don't buy anything tomorrow.
No gas,
Don't buy
right?
anything. Okay, nothing.
Yes,
Don't go to the
tomorrow
mall.
is the day. Don't go to the mall.
Let's see what happens.
Malls are dying anyway. Come on, malls are just dying. Like, man, you go to a mall, there's no one in the mall anymore. It's barely any stores in the mall. So things are bad. She said, remember the Montgomery bus boycott. So that's the type of thing you're talking, right? Uh-oh. Who froze? Is that her? You froze, Niel.
I know, and your audio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, she said they spent no money.
They spent no money. Yeah. Well, the concept is of course spot on. If everyone adheres to it, it really can show the spending power. Because we always talk. Dr. Chavez talks about the spending power of Black America all the time.
Right.
But the only way to really show it is if you just follow this tomorrow and not shop
tomorrow. Yeah. And then after that, it's the 40-day Target fast with Dr. Jamal Bryant. And that starts on the 5th, I believe. It's Wednesday. It starts on Lent, so you can go Mardi Gras, turn up on Tuesday. But come Wednesday, you go get your ash on your forehead and you don't go to Target.
You don't go to Target. and of course, the NNPA, the National Newspaper Publishers Association, has the selective buy-in campaign as well. So, folks, it's where it's at. You Black media that's where you're going to find this stuff and find out what really is going on. So.
Yeah, and we'll keep you posted and we'll remind you. We'll keep it at the forefront of your mind because this is what we have control of. Some things we can't control, but there are some things that we can, and we can make them feel the pressure if we stop spending our money. Black folks are the #1 consumers in this country, yet we're the minority of the minority.
And what did Jamal Bryant tell us when he was on? He said something I didn't know. It was incredible. He said, Black folks spend $12 million a day at Target. $12 million a day. At first I thought he said a week. Now I had to go back and check it. And he said a day, and I looked it up, and he, of course, he was right. So imagine that tomorrow, if everyone follows suit, Target will lose $12 million tomorrow.
Right. And then think about if we do it for 40 days. From March 5th until I think it's April 17th.
Now, don't have me do the math. You do the math. 12 times.
No,
40.
let Target do the math. Let them figure it out.
Okay.
Let them
wow.
figure it out.
Oh gosh. So tomorrow is the day. We're on tomorrow, so we'll remind everyone tomorrow as well. You want to do some Black History moments before we go?
We
And of
have
course we
to.
got to get yeah.
We have
And of
to.
course we got our Black newspaper of the day as well.
Yeah. Blackity black, black, black.
Is that what it is?
Right.
All right. So on this date, and I guess she wants me to start. On
Of
this date
course.
in 1869, Congress adopted the 15th constitutional amendment, making it illegal for the U.S. or any single government to deny or abridge the right to vote on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude.
Mm, mm. That's powerful. Look at that picture.
Yeah.
And on this date in 1872, Charlotte E. Ray graduated from Howard University Law School and became the first Black woman to practice law in the United States. She was also the first woman admitted to the District of Columbia Bar.
Wow. And so our last one is on this date in 1897. Marian Anderson was born in Philadelphia. She became one of the most celebrated singers of the 20th century. And then later in 1902, on this date, Marian Anderson became the first Black soloist to perform at the White House.
Mm, mm. All right. That's our Black History facts for today. And so let's talk about the paper of the week. As you know, let it be known of the day. What I say of the week of the day. As you know, let it be known is the daily podcast for the Black Press USA. And so our paper of the day is simply put the history of the New Pittsburgh Courier. It's unmatched. It's an unmatched paper established in 1907 by Edward Halston, a guard in the H.J. Heinz food packing plant. The Pittsburgh Courier gained national prominence after attorney Robert Lee Vann became the newspaper's editor, publisher, treasurer, and legal counsel in 1910. We've always had a lot of jobs. In his lifetime, Vann saw the Courier grow to become the largest, most influential Black newspaper in the nation, with a circulation of 250,000 and over 400 employees in 14 cities.
Wow.
Yikes.
Wow.
That's powerful.
That is amazing. And so in the 20s, though, Vann, he made efforts to improve the quality. Now, think about that. See, this is what I like about this newspaper of the day. Now, we just said circulation of over 250,000, 400 employees in 14 cities, and they didn't sit there and say, okay, we're good, because Vann made efforts to improve the quality of the news, including included in the growing paper. So in November of 1925, the Courier joined the Associated Negro Press, the news collective of African American publications, and under Vann, the local news section of the Courier covered the social lives of the upper and middle class members of the Hill District in Pittsburgh. This included accounts of vacations, marriages, and parties of prominent families, and the goings on of local groups. And that's what people still like today. They like to see themselves in the newspaper. And they got it. The New Pittsburgh Courier got it real early. They got that concept real early, as we see. So wow, big ups to them. Wow.
Right. Yeah.
The New Pittsburgh Courier. So again, you don't have to live in Pittsburgh to get the New Pittsburgh Courier. You can go online and get it, just like any of our other newspapers that we have been talking about. Neil came up with this brilliant idea to have a newspaper of the day, a Black-owned newspaper of the day. You know, their circulation eventually in 1947 was 357,000. We need that now.
Right.
And we got to mention too that John Senstack, because Black Press Week is coming up too, and he's one of our Hall of Famers. So he purchased the paper, and he was the one who renamed the Pittsburgh Courier the New Pittsburgh Courier.
Okay. Yeah.
So there you have it.
There you have it. And you can find stories from the Pittsburgh Courier and all the Black newspapers on blackpressusa.com, where you can find out what's happening in Black America. So if you want to know and stay up to date with Black news, visit blackpressusa.com.
Well, and visit us tomorrow again. We appreciate you. Hit the subscribe button. We appreciate that you have been doing that. Doesn't cost you anything. And make sure you don't spend anything either tomorrow. So this is free. You can do this tomorrow.
Yeah. And thanks for tuning in to all of our new viewers. We appreciate you.
Very much so. We will see you again tomorrow.
Here. Have a bite of this sandwich. You're gonna kill me. If you're going to pass in white America, you are going to have to learn to like mayonnaise. No. If you're ever forced to eat this mayonnaise, simply press the button on this side of the watch. It delivers a rather liberal spritzing of hot sauce. One blast should be enough to make Caucasian food edible. Here, have a bite of this sandwich.